Hello. So I'm just going to do a quick one as I try to do every week. Just pick up one of those stories online as it affects every one of us Nigerians and talk about it. I believe most of you have been following the story, the emergency, state of emergency role that Tinubu did, and obviously selected a sole administrator. And then the National Assembly had to vote whether or not they support it. I mean, it's a vote after the fact because they're meant to give their ruling first before Tinubu could have done that, but Tinubu did the other way around. But the peculiar thing that happened in the Senate is what I want to talk about today, which is what Sarah Report is reporting. But in the meantime, please, if you've been in this content for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been following us for a while, please go ahead and subscribe as well and support this change that we're trying to make in Nigeria, okay? Nothing should hold you back anymore. You should know that what we produce here from this channel is a genuine change towards making Nigeria better. All right, so there was this exchange that happened on the Senate floor between Seriake Dixon and the Senate President Akpabio. And obviously, most outlet carried the news. But Sahara Report is reporting first and what literally happened between Akpabio and Dickson on the floor. So the headline here says Akpabio tried to silence me for opposing Tinubu's emergency rule in Rivers, and Dickson says. So in the statement, Dickson explained that he had raised his objections during the closed session, arguing that the declaration fell short of constitutional requirements. So what that literally means in essence is that this is just the main part of the story. Um, so what that literally means that they had a closed session because oftentimes they have to go whip up votes. Politicians do that a lot. If you follow the American Senate, even if you follow the UK one, whichever one you follow, any of the Western one, you'll see when they want to pass a law or want to pass a bill, they try to whip up the vote. They call them whip the vote. So they try to whip the vote, garner support for the vote. So they have these closed sessions where they always go back and try and get people to support the vote. So and Seriake Dixon here is saying that I opposed it. So that's what this particular main bold headline is saying here. Senator Seriake Dixon, representing Bayelsa West, has revealed that he led a walkout from the Senate chamber on March the 20th in protest against approval of President Bola Tinubu's request to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State. The Senate approved the president's request through a voice vote by passing the constitutionally mandated two-thirds majority required for such a significant decision. So most of the things that happened on the Senate floor when this approval was given are still unconstitutional because you need to actually vote two-thirds. The names of the people that voted needs to be, gazetted to say this set of people voted for it. So that's what the Constitution actually says. So if you remember, in the House of Representatives, the Speaker said if you say support, you say yay, and the other people say and for nay, nobody said anything or they kept quiet. And that's illegal still. That's still not constitutional because they did not put the mandated 20 to third vote where they can ascribe their names to it and say, I support it. So, for example, historically, we can go back and say in the next 20 years, when our children are reading through the people that actually voted for this, they can put their names and say, Akpabio voted for it. The Senate leader, Michael Opeyemi Bamdele, voted for it. The chief whip voted for it, and so on and so forth. But here they did not, they just used a voice to say, oh, yes, yes. And because of the noise of the yes was louder, they passed it. So Dickson, the former governor of Bayelsa State, described the Senate's action as unconstitutional in a statement on Friday. He stated that declaring a state of emergency and suspending elected officials in Rivers State violated constitutional provisions. He was joined in his protest by other senators, including Aminu Tambuwal and Eyinaya Abaribe, who also opposed the majority resolution. In the statement, Dickson explained that he had raised his objection during a closed session, arguing that the declaration fell short of constitutional requirement. He expressed gratitude to Senator Tambuwal for his strong support in challenging the legality of the declaration, particularly the aspect involving the suspension of elected officials in Rivers State. I left the plenary before the Senate President was directed to report the outcome because I didn't want to be present while what I was opposed is being reported. Dickson said, I believe Senator Tambuwal, Senator Baribe, and the others equally left him. Dickson acknowledged efforts by the Senate leadership and the President to modify declarations in response to concerns raised by dissenting senators. However, he maintained that these efforts did not address the fundamental issue of constitutionality. The beauty of democracy is such that minority will have their say, while the majority will have their way. He said, I would have wished for more robust and open debate so that all views and opinions could be openly canvassed. Allegations of censorship. Dickson also criticized Senate President Godswill Akpabio for attempting to censor him during the plenary session. He accused Akpabio of being unfair and misrepresenting his statement when he tried to raise a point of order for the Senate to go on into an executive session. The Senate President was very unfair to me by trying to censor my freedom of expression, Dickson said. No senator needs the permission of the Senate President to express an opinion on a topical matter of national interest. Dickson said that he intends to meet with Akpabio to formally express his displeasure and prevent any recurrence of such incidents. Dickson urged his constituents, Nigerians, and people of goodwill not to be dismayed by the country's current direction of democracy. He described the challenges as a call to duty and for collective efforts to promote participatory democracy in Nigeria. Our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Rivers State, he added. The Senate's decision has sparked widespread debate, with critics questioning the legality of the emergency rule and the suspension of elected officials. The matter is expected to be challenged in the judiciary, as Dickson hinted that the ball is now in the court of other arms of government to address the constitutional concerns raised. So there was a lot that went on the Senate floor. A lot of canvassing went on for the vote. But one of the key areas here was what came out yesterday from the People's Gazette, where the People's Gazette talked about money is being given to senators as bribe. So, and they only have 48 hours to pass this resolution. And they had to do that hurriedly because they couldn't have done it on Friday, which obviously is today. So they needed to rush through the process yesterday. And there's allegations going on right now that's been going on since yesterday, that monies were given, bribes were given. $25,000 was given to each of these lawmakers, both on the House representative members and the senators, to get this vote to go through. And this is exactly what we have been talking about from this channel. We've been talking about this corruption, persistently talking about this corruption from our political leaders, our lawmakers. And I obviously, if you've not heard me say this before, we need to turn our attention as well to the judiciary, to our legislature, to the National Assembly, because they're passing some stringent rules and bills and laws that will sort of keep Nigerians under, that will sort of, keep Nigerians being tracked. For example, there's also a new bill, they've actually gone through several readings about monitoring bloggers, which I think is terrible. Because when the government is not happy from what you say or what we're saying, they find a way to track you down and hunt you people down, and hunt Nigerians down. And because they don't want to do the right thing. So the news here is now we're now getting some more clarity as to what had transpired on the Senate floor yesterday during the plenary session, and what happened between Seriake Dixon and Godswill Akpabio. Now, for the record, it is very clear to all Nigerians now that Godswill Akpabio is not for Nigerians. It is very clear. Now, why Godswill Akpabio still a senator baffles me, because this current Senate president literally lost his election. The person that's rigged the election for him is in prison. I do not understand, for a normal country where the judiciary works, that pronunciation that made Senator Godswill Akpabio senator would have been rescinded, because they've now found out that he did not win the election, but is still sitting there as a Senate president, while the person who rigged the election and rewrote the results is in prison. Because it's a miscarriage of justice, where the person who miscarried the justice is in prison. The person who's benefiting from it is sitting right there as the number 3 president in Nigeria. This is where the problem really is. The Nigerian president is accused of forgery and all sort of crimes. Nigeria's vice president is accused of terrorism Nigerians' third person in the country is a forger or a rigger of election. Can you see the criminality that was working around as leadership in Nigeria, where election was rigged completely? So again, if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. And for all of our viewers who have been following this channel, who have not yet subscribed, please do so. Join this voice. We're not going to stop. This is for the record. We're not stopping anytime soon. 2027 is around the corner. You and me, we're all going through this thing together. And by the way, if you're in the diaspora, you're part of the problem too. You're part of the solution, sorry. You're going to be part of the solution. Because your brothers and your sisters are all traveling down the road and people are getting kidnapped. So imagine your sister's kidnapped or your brother is kidnapped. Are you not going to be the same person to produce the money to actually bail them? Exactly my point. So we cannot let this government continue to ride on a free ride. This 30-day challenge is not going to be enough. We're going to carry on. We have to carry on. And we have to come for each of them one by one. The next person on the agenda will be Godswill Akpabio. We're going to start calling him corrupt Godswill Akpabio. We're going to start it. So if you're watching this for the first time, you're hearing this, let us put that challenge there. Hashtag corrupt Godswill Akpabio. We know we're already calling him the rubber stamp Senate President, but we're going to add that thing to it as well and call him the corrupt Godswill Akpabio. So we can give him that tag too as well, so he knows that we're coming for him. Nigerians are coming for all these corrupt leaders. All right, so share, like, and subscribe. I'll catch you up in the next video. As always, God bless you. Bye-bye for now.